Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Fanfics 2.0 and we are back with a new fanfic. What if Naruto was hunted by a deadly inn who fell in love with him? Part 2. And if you enjoyed this fanfic then please like and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. Now let's start the fanfic. Naruto. They were taking their sweet time in the forest surrounding the frost. The head Frost and Young had seen Sakura head that way. Naruto rubbed his face with his hand and glanced around at his surroundings with blurry eyes. It had been a long day and he was already tired of chasing Sakura, who disappeared like a ghost. Not to mention, the hateful remarks from his companion were beginning to annoy him. "Doesn't this annoy you?" he finally asked her after a while of walking in complete silence. "No answer. Daydreaming about me, Ayumi?" he asked her, deciding to have some fun annoying the hell out of her. That brought her current train of thought to a halt. Her eyebrows pulled together in annoyance as her eyes narrowed. "I don't know what your problem is, but I bet it's hard to pronounce," she told him, staring up at him as he laughed. "Well then, sweetheart, it's a good thing you're not good with words." He smiled and jumped back to avoid a punch to the shoulder. "What did you say?" she fumed. Naruto raised his arms in surrender. "I'm not the one with anger issues." "Oh, really?" She raised her eyebrow at him. "I'll show you anger issues," she threatened while gripping the hilt of her sword with her hand. Now, let's not get carried away," he reasoned before appearing behind her, his hand on hers stopping her from pulling the blade out. "I was only sent to kill one person, not two. Like you could lay a finger on me." She huffed like he was missing some inside joke before letting go of the hilt of her blade. Naruto rolled his eyes and stared at the trees as they passed them by. He thought they must be in the middle of the forest by now. There was a small clearing ahead, where no trees grew. She walked a few more paces in front of him before stopping abruptly at the edge of the clearing. Ayumi turned back around to face him. "What do you plan to do after we catch the Sakura?" she asked. Her eyebrow rose. He stopped and glanced at the ground briefly. "You know, I haven't really thought about it. I guess I'd just go back to doing the same old stuff. But I'd much rather still be here, with you." He muttered the last two words so low he wasn't even sure she heard him. But to his utmost embarrassment her head tilted towards the ground as a small smile graced her lips. It was a sad, happy kind of smile. The kind of smile you expression when you say goodbye to someone you care for and know you would never see again. "There is something I have been meaning to tell you," she said, concentrating very hard on something as she closed the distance between her and Naruto. She was very close to him now. Mixed emotions crossed her face as she rested her hand on the shoulder of his flat jacket. "And that is?" he asked, not taking his eyes off her. He knew she was just messing around. She was most likely trying to get him back for his last attempts to play jokes on her or had some alternate reason so this could help make his life hell. Sure, they had a moment back at the ice-covered lake, but that was nothing. It was just an accident. Her emotions always left him confused. One second she would be talking to him and joking around, the next moment she was serious and closed off. He knew she didn't like him. That had to be the reason she was on and off with him. But that didn't stop her from wrapping her arms around his neck and bending his head closer to hers. His mind exploded. What was she doing? Was she trying to manipulate him? Could she? Would she? He felt her arms straighten out behind his neck as she pulled him closer to her. Her lips hovered close to his, not even a centimeter apart. He was no amateur. He had little to some experience with this kind of thing. But it never felt like this with Hinata. Their lips hadn't even touched and already an uncontainable excitement was building inside of him. He didn't trust his hands so he left them limp by his sides. She rose up on her toes so that their noses were touching. Her forehead was now resting against his as she let out a breath she had been holding in. One of her hands moved to cup his cheek. He couldn't focus on her eyes. They were too close. He wanted to. It would tell him everything she was thinking. "Minato, I needed to tell you that I'm S." She stopped and her arms tensed around his neck. "I need to tell you that," she said again and stopped as if deciding what she was going to say next. "We are being followed," Ayumi told him quietly before pulling back away from him and slipping something that was in her hand back into her vest pocket. Only then did he feel the 4 signatures of Chakra closing in on them. And like a switch the shinobi in him took control as his mind began to point out little facts about the intruders. At first, he thought it was another genin team, but after speculation he realized these shinobi were much stronger. Naruto straightened his back and waited for the owners to arrive. Most likely these signatures belonged to rogues. In no time they appeared, spread out in an offensive position. Well, what do we have here? One of the men questioned, smiling wickedly at the 2 Junin. A mist ninja and leaf ninja working together. One of his followers questioned with fake surprise. The 4 men stood side by side eyeing the 2 shinobi. The leader was bigger than all of the others put together, and by bigger he didn't mean fat or heavy. This man had a large frame and was inhumanly muscular. To match his large appearance he had a huge sword strapped to his back, which made him look even more menacing. His subordinates were just as fierce. One of them had already drawn his weapon. He was smaller than the rest, but he seemed more serious. His weapons of choice were 2 long and narrow dual swords. This man frightened Naruto, the only reason being, his swords were covered in dried blood. The killing of a person wasn't what scared him, it was the fact that the man didn't bother to clean his weapons after. Naruto's eyes wandered to the man, farthest from his leader. This rogue had a single sword, a feudal sword to be exact. It was still in its hostler. The man's fingers hovered above it. He wore a sickening smile that told Naruto all this man wanted was their weapons and anything else he could get his hands on. The last rogue was average size. He was the only man out of the 4 who had a forehead protector. A single music note stood out on the metal with a line slashed through it, diagonally. His arms were crossed as he stared back at Naruto with concentration. Naruto inclined his head over to his partner to judge her reaction of their unsuspected guests. 2 for me, 2 for you, Ayumi whispered under her breath to Naruto. Naruto smiled brightly and nodded at her. God, this girl could read his intentions like an open book. Then he stopped and really looked at her. What had happened 2 seconds ago? What was that? Naruto shook his head. Stop it, Naruto. She is not interested in you. There had to be a reason. He stopped the urge to snap his fingers. Of course, she felt the signatures before him and wanted to warn him. So instead of saying it out loud and losing the edge of surprise, she made it appear that they were kissing so she could tell him. Very split of the moment. He smiled slightly. She was a very dangerous shinobi, not to mention a good actress. Boss, maybe they're out here on their honeymoon. The one in the back laughed at his joke. The funny thing was, no one else laughed. The mist Enyong is mine. The leader barked, smiling at her, showing his yellow teeth. I've always wanted to kill one. For some reason, unknown to him, Naruto had to resist the urge to move to stand in front of Ayumi. He acted on his feeling and he moved a step closer to her. She raised a questioning eyebrow at him, but he only shook his head. Where did this protective urge come from? So what will it be, pretty boy? The lead rouge asked, cracking his knuckles against his palm. Well, I guess we can take a break, Ayumi. He nodded to her, an unspoken conversation pinged through their eyes. Besides, it won't be much of a challenge. Quote, why you little, one of the rogues started, but he couldn't finish his sentence. He choked on the rest of the words. Naruto grabbed a hold of his cloak and pulled it off of him. Tossing it on the ground away from the group of ninja, his eyes narrowed. The fabric would slow him down and he didn't want to risk it getting torn. He could barely hear the 4 rogues as one whispered to the leader, boss, your take on the girl, we'll handle pretty boy. Naruto smiled slightly. This was the worst situation to be in. They were in for a run for their money. Ayumi would completely destroy the leader. He turned to her to see if she heard them, but she was already giving him a look. Don't hurt yourself, she said sarcastically with a wink, turning to face the rogues again. Who did she think she was? He fumed. His thoughts were cut off when the rogues launched themselves at Ayumi and him. Jumping back to avoid a swipe of the feudal rogue's weapon, he pulled out a kunai. A loud scraping noise filled the air as metal contacted metal. He tried to watch Ayumi's fight, but the 3 rogues were not giving him any breathing room. Kage Bushin no Jutsu, he shouted, making the hand signs as a clone appeared on either side of him. At the same time, his clones in him charged forward to the three rogues. He decided it would be in his best interest if he used as less chakra as he could manage. Which of course meant no high-level ninjutsu. So he decided to participate in close combat. Replacing his kunai, he reached back, grabbing a hold of his katana and brought it out in front of him while his clones mirrored his movements. Jumping into the air, he sliced the kunai out of the X-sound man's hand. Before the man could even react, he shoved the blade of his katana deep into the man's heart. Meeting no resistance, the blade continued until it shot out his back. The X-sound Anyong coughed up blood to the side of Naruto as Naruto pushed the blade in until the hilt met skin. Naruto was now supporting the dying weight of the man. Dead weight, get it? Naruto sighed in annoyance at his brain and concentrated back on the fight. Sensing a presence behind him, Naruto ripped the blade back out and brought the sword up to block the feudal swordsman from crashing his stolen blade down on his head. Glancing around quickly, Naruto noted that both clones had already dispersed. Damn it, this will be a challenge. Hardly. Pushing his blade against the rogues, the metal of his katana slid off, no longer trapped under the feudal sword. Using his foot, he kicked the man down onto his back. With two hands wrapped around the sword's hilt, he brought his katana down on the other man who survived his clone. This man was the two dual swords freak. The rogue's bloody blades formed an X as he blocked Naruto's katana from going any further. Putting pressure down on the dual swords, he glanced over at Ayumi. She had managed to cut the leader up pretty bad. His clothes were blood-soaked as he charged at her again, his mild sword raised. He saw the man he kicked down earlier running over to help his boss, but Naruto was not about to let H. I aim. Letting go of the sword with one of his hands, Naruto pulled a kunai out of his pouch and threw it at the man's back. Hitting its mark, the feudal man tumbled over at Ayumi's feet. She merely glanced at Naruto and mouthed the words, "Concentrate on your fight." Single quote. He turned back to the man pinned under the force of his katana. The rogue was struggling. His arms were shaking violently as Naruto put both hands on the hilt of the blade. Naruto watched as the muscles on his shoulders and arms bunched up as the man used all his strength to resist the blade. Now, his mind yelled at him as Naruto pulled his weapon out of the man's scissor lock. The rogue's dual blades, no longer under pressure, scraped past each other. The man's arms were up in a touchdown position from the force he put on both his weapons. Naruto smiled, knowing this is the position he wanted the man in. Shifting his katana into his left hand, Naruto rotated on his foot and grabbed the rogue's left hand that was clasped around his blade. Guiding the rogue's own weapon against him, Naruto plunged the blade into the man's stomach. In a last attempt to save himself, the man brought his other sword down, but it was met halfway by Naruto's katana. Game over, he muttered to the rogue as his eyes rolled back into his head. Letting go of the man's clasped hand, Naruto watched him fall backwards. From this position, the man appeared to have killed himself with his own blade. He shook his head, tearing his eyes away from the man. It was just another move he learned from Minations. To say he wasn't a little bit tired would be a lie. He turned to watch Ayumi's fight. It appeared he had it easy. The leader of the rogues had some skill left. He must have been a Junin before he left his village or something. He was considering on helping her, but he knew she'd be pissed if he even dared to. Instead, he stabbed his weapon into the ground and pulled it back out. The blood was no longer on his weapon as he returned it to his back. Naruto returned his gaze back to the fighting before him. At that second, Naruto noticed the leader running at Ayumi, forming complicated hand signs. But unknown to her, a man he had thought was dead had returned to his feet. It was the man who had run to help his boss from earlier. But something was different about him. His arms were coated in paper bombs while he raised his kunai in his right hand. The man smiled wickedly, staring down at the Mr. Nyong. Pushing off the tree where he stood, he raised his finger of his left hand to his lips. Dread and realization rained down on him like a shower. The rogue was going to activate the bombs once he was close enough to her, he thought in horror. It was a suicidal attack. She would be distracted while the one behind her would make the kill. Pushing off his legs, Naruto ran to intercept the man. He had no time to make a Kage Bushin to help. Hell, His only thought was to save her. He didn't know how this would end, all he knew was he was going to stop it somehow. Naruto landed right behind Ayumi, just before the suicidal man did. Putting his left forearm up to block the weapon, he felt the man's kunai embed itself into his flesh. But at the same time Naruto used his right hand to form a Rasengan. His no high-level jutsu plan was gone and now so would be this rogue. The rogue's eyes narrowed as he realized the man in front of him screwed his plan up. Once noticing Naruto's jutsu, he attempted to jump back away from Naruto. But he was too late. Moving his right hand up, Naruto shoved the spiraling ball of chakra into the rogue's stomach. The feudal rogue's eyes went wide open as the jutsu shoved him backwards, but as he began to fly into the air, he muttered a few words, activating the paper bombs. Naruto didn't think, he just let his body act. Releasing the hold on the ball of chakra, he spun on his heel to grab Ayumi into his arms as the explosion went off. With his last thought, he pushed off on his foot as the explosion threw both of them into the air. The bits of fire and gust of wind that came with it caused him to land sideways into a tree, Ayumi still firmly in his arms. It seemed his back would provide the only protection. The tree broke on impact as they both tumbled towards the ground. Still, the force of the impact wasn't enough to slow them down as Ayumi and him were thrown across the ground. He landed on his back, spraying dirt everywhere. Once they stopped sliding, he let go of her, but stayed on the ground. He wasn't dead, thank God, but he wasn't sure of the damage his stunt caused. There was a dull pain on his back and another one creeping up on his arm. He watched Ayumi push herself into a standing position. Turning to him, he saw the anger clearly written across her face. "You idiot!" she screamed. "I had him." "No, you didn't. That guy was behind you and..." She cut him off. "I know. I was only feigning that I was unaware. Then you had to show up and mess everything up." She screamed at him. "Only faking. Shit. So she really wasn't in trouble." God, Naruto, always rushing into things. "Do you even think before you act?" she asked, still yelling at him. "I didn't know. I just saw you there. I wasn't going to sit back and just watch." "That's not me," he retaliated, but hissed in pain when he realized his back was indeed hit by the explosion and the tree really did not help. Not to mention the wound the kunai left in his arm. It was then he noticed something on her face that he hadn't seen before. Aside from the anger etched into her face, he saw the worry hidden deep behind her eyes. But as soon as he caught it, it disappeared and anger took its place again. "Your idiocy could have gotten us both killed," she stated, no longer yelling. "Are you all right?" he asked, trying to divert the conversation. "Yes, I'm fine," she said, sounding confused. "Good," he simply replied, pushing himself into a sitting position, ignoring the dull ache of pain. "See, you didn't get killed or hurt. Everything is fine." Quote, "Yeah, but..." She stopped herself and switched to a different choice of sentence. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." "Really? Then stand up," she said, crossing her arms. "Fine, I will," he smiled. In order to not look weak, he rose to his feet. The movement not only hurt like hell, but he stumbled and grabbed onto the bark of a tree for support. Great, now she knew. "Sakura." Sakura's eyes widened. "Please tell me you at least jumped out of the way before the explosion went off." Quote, "There wasn't enough time." He trailed off as he noticed her approach. "Turn around." Minato did as he was told and turned his back towards her. Sakura gasped. "That bloody idiot." She was silent as she stared at his back for a few seconds. "What?" Minato asked. "Were you born a complete idiot or have you mastered some rare, unknown art?" "Yeah, because being an idiot is why I managed to kill 3 rogues in a less amount of time than it took you to kill one." Quote, Sakura took a deep breath to control herself. "And that's why one of the rogues you supposedly killed was able enough to aid his leader in killing me." Minato didn't speak for several seconds. That whole better not have a retort. "How bad is it?" he asked, finally, trying to look over his shoulder. "I won't know until I take off the remains of your shirt and jacket," she stated. "Until you take off my shirt and jacket." "Did I hear you right?" Sakura could practically hear the smirk in his voice. "I said you stop imagining things." Lucky for him, he kept his mouth shut after that. He unzipped the jacket from the front and let it drop to the ground. Afterward, he carefully slipped off the remnants of his shirt. It's a good thing you jumped when you're dead, otherwise the most elite medic in Yong wouldn't even be able to heal your skin completely. She took a couple more steps toward him to get a better look at the damage. How do you know so much? He grunted, relaxing his shoulders. I know some medical ninjutsu, she said, examining his back. Anything else you are keeping from me? He asked, sounding annoyed. I didn't realize I was supposed to tell you my life story, Sakura responded. I can easily fix you up. Were you hurt anywhere else? Yeah, my forearm. What happened? She sighed. Kunai went through it, he said simply. Of course it did, she said. Are you going to help me or not? Minato sighed. Just thought I'd give you a little help first. She lifted her arms and placed them an inch from his back, letting the green light envelop her hands. You may feel a slight tingle, Ayumi said, skillfully letting her hands travel around his back. Nothing, I can't hand. Ouch, damn it. What the hell are you doing? He yelped. I thought you said a tingle. Stop being a baby, she told him, concentrating on the wound but decided to be gentler with her ninjutsu. I would if you weren't peeling my skin off, he argued, but his breathing became slower. There, all done. Now let me see your forearm, she said with authority. He turned around to face her. Sakura allowed herself a small smile at his childish complaints. She gently cradled his arm in one of her hands. The kunai missed the tendons between your two bones on your forearm. It seemed to have hit your radius and the bone stopped it from going any deeper. How strange, she observed. What? He asked, looking down at his arm. Your skin, she trailed off. It was already healing before I touched it. His face remained umpa. He shrugged casually. It's just a jutsu the Hokage put on me. Said I was always getting hurt. So I was right, he doesn't know that I know he's a Jinchuriki. This could be to my advantage. Huh, he doesn't need to know. He nodded and made a move to pick his vest up off the ground. What happened to the leader? He asked, picking up his cloak he had tossed on the ground before the fight. It was still in perfect condition, unlike his Junin jacket. Incinerated, Sakura replied, motioning her head towards the black pit in the middle of the forest. That's the first good news. He laughed. Hey, by any chance would you like to go back to the hotel and get in one of those hot springs? Because I don't know about you but, it's getting late and I'm freezing my off. Quote. She took a quick glance at Minato before saying, I guess it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt getting a closer look at that body. He was already sprinting back to the hotel. Minato, you are going to tear open your wounds again, she called out after him. It won't matter because I get first dibs on the hot springs. He called out, laughing. I guess he doesn't know the springs aren't separated according to you. Sakura smirked. It's a shame you're not allowed to be completely after her thought. She took off after Minato. Yeah, no. Now that I think about it, his name does sound kind of familiar. Maybe a guy in my village has the same name. That has to be it. I've never met him before. I definitely would have remembered him. When Sakura and Minato finally found their way to the frost gates, they slowed to a walk. Minato turned to face her. Do you want to go straight there? Quote. No. I figured we'd take a detour through the earth country, down to wind country and up back through the fire country before finally going to the hot springs. Sakura rolled her eyes. Excuse me for offering to give you a moment to yourself. Quote. Sakura felt instantly guilty. He sounded sincere. Minato shrugged. Yeah, no. I'm trying to imagine you with a personality. But that's okay. I can be a sarcastic bitch too. Sakura decided it was best to keep her mouth shut. She was gonna have to find a way to be a decent person. It's just that, she was scared to let anybody get too close to her. And letting herself open up to Minato is just going to make it harder to kill him. No, it's best to just be isolated. When they reached the front of the hot springs they stopped. What the hell, is that even legal? I thought I was going to be alone. Love you too, Sakura muttered as she walked in. Look, the changing rooms are separate. Go be alone in there. Minato turned and walked away from Sakura as she walked into the girls' changing room. She walked over and looked in a mirror. Sakura almost recoiled at the sight of the bags under her eyes. Surely they weren't this bad yesterday. Maybe the hot water will work wonders. Sakura walked over and sat on one of the benches and placed her face in her hands. Why do I have to be the one to do this? He's the first decent guy I've met in forever and I have to eliminate him. Sakura took a deep breath. I am so sick of this killing. When I get back to the mist, I'm telling May I can no longer be her in. Why would anybody put someone through this kind of torture? Doesn't anybody know how we feel? Sakura stood up and threw the bench across the room. YME, she shouted. I didn't ask for this. Sakura felt something cold slide down her cheek and she lifted her hand to feel it. It was wet. She put her finger in front of her eyes and examined it. What she saw startled her. There. I haven't cried since, I can't even remember. The same sensation was on her face again. She turned to face the mirror. Several tears were rolling down her cheeks. I'm crying. I'm actually crying. Sakura slowly sat on the ground and allowed all of her frustrations and worries flow out of her eyes. It felt good to just let go. She couldn't remember the last time she let everything out of her system. After a good 5 minutes, she finally lifted herself off the floor. She quickly stripped down to her bra and panties and covered herself with a towel. She wiped her eyes with her hands and walked out of the room. It's about time you got out here. I thought you had died. Sakura looked across the spring to find Minato sitting in the water with his arms stretched out behind him on the ledge of the spring with his eyes closed. Sakura's demeanor quickly relaxed upon seeing Minato. How do you know it was me? Minato shrugged. Mother's intuition. Sakura burst out laughing as she walked over to the edge of the water. Yeah, no, that was actually funny. Quote. Minato cracked open one of his eyes. I'm sorry, did you just laugh? Sakura's giggles came to a cease. Well, if you're gonna be like that, then no, I didn't laugh, she said as she let the towel drop to the ground. She could have sworn Minato's eyes widened a fraction of an inch, but she could have been sure. The sun had already sunk behind the roof of the building to her back, so the lighting wasn't the best. She slowly stepped into the water and let herself sink until she was sitting down. The water felt amazing against her body. She resisted a moan, not wanting to attract Minato's attention to her. Why don't we play a game? Minato asked. What kind of game? What about truth or truth? My friends and I sometimes play it on missions. We eliminated the dare part because we are always too tired to move from our position when we camp for the night. Sakura shrugged. Sure, why not? May 1st. What was it like growing up? I thought I told you I had no parents. Precisely. Minato narrowed his eyes at her. Alright then. Growing up was horrible. End of story. He gave her a look that told her there was no way he was going to elaborate. Sakura offered a small smile. I won't ask you any more questions pertaining to that subject. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you actually had companion. Actually, it seems there are a lot of things I don't know about you. Like that medical ninjutsu stunt. When were you, if at all, going to tell me about that? Is that your question, or would you like to ask a different one before I decide to answer it? Minato was thoughtful for a moment. Fine, when did you first learn medical ninjutsu? That's a better question. I learned when I was about 15. The head of our hospital decided that I was the one that he should lend his skills down to. However, I've heard of your Hokage's legendary skills and he doesn't even compare to her. But I trained myself after he taught me everything he knew. I studied every single scroll, and if I do say so myself, I think I sucked him by the time I was 20. Quote, that early, the head of your hospital. That's impressive. Now ask me a question, shoot. Okay, what is your dream? Minato chuckled. If you lived in the leaf, you would look at as if you were stupid if you asked that question out loud. Quote, well, are you going to answer me or not? I was getting there. My dream is to become Hokage. Sakura smiled. I think you'd make a great Hokage. She got up and began making her way to sit next to Minato. Quote, he watched her with wide eyes. Nobody has ever told me that before. Control yourself, Sakura. Well, I mean it. She shrugged. My turn. Minato looked at her. Have you ever been kissed? Sakura looked down at the water. Well, no, I haven't. She looked away embarrassed. Would you like to be kissed? Sakura's head snapped up as she looked at him. What? Would you like to be kissed? He repeated as Sakura recomposed herself. That was 2 questions. Sakura poked Minato on the shoulder. This is an exception. Minato grinned. And who is supposed to kiss me? I don't see anybody in this hot spring who's kissable. Sakura felt Minato grip her chin and make her look at him. Well, in that case, I think you might be blind. Minato leaned in and gently placed his lips on Sakura's, then pulled away. How was that? Sakura leaned back in and captured his lips with hers. She could feel him chuckle in the back of his throat. Finding her bravery, Sakura wrapped her arms around Minato's neck to pull him close to her. She felt his hands grip her waist to move her closer. Minato licked the bottom of her lip, which made Sakura have to repress a shiver. As Sakura pulled away, she kept Minato's bottom lip between her teeth. When his lip was free, she whispered, "That was amazing." She let herself relish the moment before quickly pulling her arms back to her own body. Sakura, what have you done? Think I need to go to bed. I'm a little tired. She immediately got out of the hot spring and almost ran to the building. Sakura, you have just committed an S#1 mistake. Never fall in love with your target. Sakura. If Sakura wasn't running, then she was walking the fastest a human being was capable of. She had no idea how she let herself open up so much as to kiss Minato, the man she's trying to kill. Sakura, what have you done? I've allowed the forbidden to happen. How can I even call myself a master after this mission is over? I can't tell Lady May or she'll never truly trust me again. What do I do? ? Sakura continued walking toward the hotel. As soon as she reached it, she flew up the stairs and through the hallway to her room in record time. As soon as the door was closed, she went and stood in front of the mirror. She was disgusted with herself. She had never made so grave a mistake. Sakura shouted as she punched the mirror. The gel shards fell to the floor in a slow motion. Tears began to stream down her face for the second time tonight. She couldn't keep her thoughts from reaching her voice, getting more hysterical after every thought. Why me? Why did she have to choose me for this mission? Surely, there's someone that could have killed him by now. No, of course not. I am the Mist's best in and Lady May knows it. But why Minato? He's funny, smart sometimes, handsome, caring. She paused before yelling, why did I have to fall in love with him? While screaming her last thought, she picked up the lamp on her bedside table and threw it at the wall. Sakura's whole body was shaking while she sank to the floor. Her face found its way to her hands as she continually wept. She cried for almost an hour. She didn't even stop when Minato knocked on her door and asked if she was all right. In fact, that only made the crying stronger. When her eyes were finally dry and not another single tear could be formed, Sakura stood up and faced her broken mirror. Sakura felt vulnerable, weak. What am I supposed to do? Sakura knew, of course, exactly what she had to do. She just didn't want to admit it to herself, but it was the only way. I have to kill Minato. Tomorrow. Sakura continued to stare at the broken mirror as she raised her chin and fixed her posture. There, that's the Sakura I know. Now, she looked proud and strong, the way she usually does. Sakura turned away from the mirror to go and sit on the bed. She reached over and grabbed her pack off of the floor. How many senbon do I have left? She searched around her bag until she found what she was looking for. Only 5. That's definitely not enough. I'll have to pick up some more tonight rather than in the morning. I'll draw less suspicion from him that way. But how many should I get? 200. I think that will be sufficient. Now, what poison should I use? It has to be one that he, or the leaf, is not familiar with. I could use a poison known only to the mist. Now that leaves 5 that will do the job. However, only one of those will kill fast, hence strychnine. And it happens to be the only one I brought. The original poison, strychnine, was altered to become a special mist poison. Once the poison has killed its host, it destroys itself, making it look like an accidental death, hence the name Henshi. It causes extreme pain until it reaches the heart. But I would really rather not cause him any pain. Sakura shook her head. Concentrate, Sakura. She took a deep breath. Okay, this poison, when injected into the bloodstream, flows quickly throughout the whole body, shutting down the central nervous system first, then moving on to the organs, which shut down 1 minute after the poison makes contact with them, saving the heart for last. I'll just have to hope the poison works faster than his tailed beast does. That will be my major obstacle. If worst comes to worst, he will definitely pee out. I can always resort to using a kunai if necessary. Now, how will I put him in a situation to be hit with a poison senbon? I do have Sakura to use at my disposal. That'll definitely work. She could lure him out to a clearing, just a small circle with a 5-foot radius. He will be too focused on catching her to notice an amateur trip while circling the clearing. As soon as he activates it, a blazing fire, ignited by paper bombs, will encircle the small space. And then I'll have other paper seals, sealed with the poison senbon, scattered across the trees but hidden. Roam view, activated to shoot at him. No doubt at least one of them will hit him and then the poison will do its job. If somehow I find him alive but still unconscious after the fire dies down, I will simply slit his throat. Sakura breathed out a sigh of relief. There, see, Sakura, your brilliant plans always shine through when you are in need of them. I'll pick up the senbon and set up my trap tonight. He is probably asleep already, so this will be perfect. He will have no suspicions of me. Sakura laid back on her bed and stared at the ceiling for a few minutes. When her pulse was calm and she was confident she could flawlessly carry out her plan, she grabbed her bag, slung it over her shoulder and walked out the door. She paused for a split second to glance at Minato's door and then she continued down the hallway. Sakura awoke to the dim sunlight streaming through her window. Her first thought was, beautiful morning. Her second, today is the end. She sighed and got out of bed. 3 knocks sounded at her door. Coming, she shouted. Sakura opened her door to reveal Minato, completely dressed, ready and smiling. Today is the day, he stated proudly. You are telling me, Sakura responded as she made her way back into the room, searching for her clothes. What? No good morning. No, how did you sleep? Well, I feel special. Minato sounded sincerely hurt behind his joking demeanor, which only made it that much harder. Get out. I'm trying to get dressed here, Sakura said, trying to sound rude. It killed her. From the corner of her eye she could see Minato slightly recoil, but he was gone in the next second. Sakura, you have a duty to your village. You can't back out now because of one leaf shinobi. She took a deep breath to right herself again. Sakura began traveling around the room, changing into her clothes as she reached them. As she was moving, she was going down her mental checklist, making sure all of her preparations the night before had been perfect and there were no holes in her plan. Sakura had first set out for an herb shop to pick up the ingredients for the poison, which luckily hadn't taken long to make when she got back to the hotel. Next she had gone to a weapons shop. She had to convince the owner to let her in to buy the senbon she needed, seeing as though she had showed up after they had closed. With a wink and small flirting here and there, he obliged. Finally she sought out the clearing. When she found it, she encountered a problem. The snow. To start the fire she needed, there couldn't be any snow. It could either dim the fire, making it easy to escape, or completely put it out. Neither of which could happen for her plan to succeed. She spent an hour clearing away just enough snow to make nothing look suspicious but would also acquire her desired results. The next 30 or so minutes were used to place the tripwire, place the paper seals that would ignite the fire when the TR-IP wire was activated, and place the paper seals that hid her poison senbon. Another 20 minutes were spent to conceal the paper seals. He could not be allowed to see them in advance. When she was done, she had stopped to admire her handiwork. She remembered thinking, no wonder I am the most successful in my village. She wasn't one to be vain, but she let herself have the compliment. Sakura had finally made it back to the hotel by 1 in the morning. It took her all of 10 minutes to get ready. She checked her pack before exiting her room. She was about to knock on Minato's door when she looked down to see him sitting against the wall next to her door. Let's go, she said as she made her way down the hall. Sakura had made Sakura last night so she wouldn't spend unnecessary time getting ready this morning, in case Minato decided to become suspicious. Minato, a name so unique but familiar at the same time. Why did that name ring a bell? There was no one in her village by that name. Maybe someone from the Leaf she had known before she left. Maybe her parents had used the name in one of her bedtime stories. Yes, in fact she remembered a specific story that involved the Leaf's Hawkeye. They date the story to a few months after her birth. The wife of the Hawkeye at that time, Minato, was to have a baby. But for some reason, the birth had to be held in a secret place. Somehow, a very powerful ninja had disrupted events as soon as she had given birth and threatened to kidnap the baby, which was the night that the Nine Tails attacked. In a last attempt to save their son, Minato and his wife sacrificed their lives for their son, who is supposedly alive today. But now that I actually think about it, that story has to be true, because the Hawkeye did die fighting to save the village from the Nine Tails. When Sakura was very young, her mother told her the story for the first time. She never gave any new details. Maybe it was because she felt like she would betray the Leaf, or she felt Sakura wasn't in need of the information. Sakura wasn't sure. She had never really given it any extra thought. Why should she? She was too focused on learning the history of her new home village. The leaves didn't matter. But now, obviously it did. What was it that I remember hearing about the Leaf's Jinchuriki? I overheard some other ninja talking about it. They had said that a baby that had been born the night of the Leaf's major attack had the Nine Tails sealed inside of him, which is obviously Minato. Aha! So, Minato is obviously not his real name. Sakura took a second to glance at Minato, or whatever his name is. So he came up with a fake name too. What would make him want to choose Minato? Surely, I've heard his real name mentioned before. I mean he's the Leaf's Jinchuriki. Did those ninja mention him too? Maybe it started with an N. That rings a bell. It feels like it's on the tip of my tongue. I call myself a master in and I can't even remember details about my home village. At least I came to one realization. By the end of her thoughts, Sakura and Minato found themselves at the village gates. They continued walking deeper into the forest. You've been really quiet. Is something bothering you? Minato sounded sincere. Oh, why does this have to be so hard? Sakura took a deep breath. Bite me. Minato's eyes widened and then narrowed. His nice, calming demeanor vanished. Sakura's stomach sank. Yeah, no. I'm trying to see things from your point of view, but I just can't seem to get my head that far up my. Sakura could have sworn her heart stopped beating for a second. This must have been what he felt like this morning and just a few seconds ago. Why don't you slip into something more comfortable, like a coma? Minato suddenly stopped walking. Stop. Listen. I think I just heard a rustling. Maybe it's Sakura. He became excited again. Shock me. Say something intelligent. Sakura pretended to roll her eyes. No, I swear I just saw blonde hair. Well, good for you. Go chase it. Why are you still standing there? Minato took off at a sprint, Sakura following closely after. Good job, Sakura. Ha, I saw her. Woohoo. If you keep yelling like that, she's going to be gone before you blink again. Naruto. He took off in a sprint towards Sakura. His smiling grin suddenly turning into a frown as followed her. She had awaited him long enough, and today was going to be the day he finally caught her and ended his mission. Ayumi was following at a distance. He assumed it was because she was more cautious of the foe ahead. The figure he was following blurred as she kicked up snow in the air when she ran. He wiped his watering eyes and continued his pursuit, determined not to let her slip from his grasp again. Sakura took a sharp left into a small clearing. He followed suit as he threw up snow when he changed direction. He stopped when his target did, his cloak fluttering to the side as he glared at her. Finally decided to stand and fight. Huh. He called out. Oh, please, Leaf Shinobi, you would hardly be a challenge. She spoke for the first time, her voice harsh and oddly familiar. You wanna bet? Naruto reached behind him, his hand hovering over his weapon's pouch. The blonde girl stood smirking at him in the clearing, her hand gripping the hilt of her sword as he approached her slowly. When he neared the edge of the clearing, she tucked tail and ran again. Frustrated, Naruto leaped into a run again after her. Pay up, Sakura joked with a sickening smile on her face as she stood on the other side of the clearing. You lose. That was when he felt his ankle snag on something. Naruto stopped at once and looked about him with surprise.